What are you?
It's a question I've been asked my entire life, and every time someone asks it, I hesitate. Not because I don't know where I'm from. I know exactly where I'm from. I'm Dominican. But somehow that answer never seems to satisfy people. They'll ask again. No. I'm asking like, what actually are you? And when I hear that, I realize they're not asking me for my nationality. They're just asking me to fit inside of a box. Growing up, I thought that should have been easy. Black, white, Asian, Native American, Middle Eastern, Pacific Islander, pick one. I never grew up questioning my identity. Honestly, I never even thought about race. I had friends, I played sports, I went to school, I knew I was Dominican, and that was enough for me until one day my whole life changed. This is the elementary school I went to, and I was a much different kid during that time. I was doing a lot of anime, a lot of cartoons, a lot of iCarly tutorials, listening to a lot of pop and house music. I didn't even know what rap was at the time. I was playing soccer, baseball. A lot of my friends were actually much different ethnically than me. South America, a lot of white, a lot of Portuguese and European people as well. And I never even looked at my skin color or the difference in upbringing. But now looking back, I can see the difference where I go to the house, they got a pool. I go to the house, they got a PlayStation and an Xbox. I go to the house, they even pizza every day. Like it's just a completely different culture. And now I think about it now, it's funny how I was kind of the black sheep hanging with them, and I never realized that until I went to school in downtown of my city, and my whole outlook completely changed. So this is a school I transferred to, and the place I realized, oh shit, I'm black. And I remember saying that to my family when I went home one day, and it was a big culture shock for me because I never really looked at my skin color. I never really looked at the difference between me and my previous classmates and friends in my old school and environment. But now that I'm hanging around these people I deemed black, I realized, oh shit, we're not that different. When I'd go to the house, I saw they had some of the same rules that you can't get up from the table until you finish eating, or they'd have timers on how much they could play video games, or I saw the dripping ceilings, I saw the cracked walls, I saw the popcorn ceiling. I saw so much similarities between me and him, or me and her. You know what I mean? In terms of hair, oh shit, he's using curling sponge. Oh, let me try that. And my whole life changed. You feel me? Like the music, the rhythms, the drums, the dance moves, like everything. I started to realize I'm more like these people than the old people I used to be with. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. It's just a realization that I made in my mind. And I think it definitely shifted my focal point and made me start questioning my identity, where I go home and start asking questions about, oh, how are we different than black people? Or what's the difference between us and them? I don't think that was the moment that I became black. I think it was the moment I realized people already had a category for me to fit into. And this is the point where it started to become very confusing for me. Because at school and in my social circles, I was learning what it meant to be black in America. But when I came home, I was just Dominican. That answer seemed to make perfect sense until I was inevitably asked again, yeah, but what are you? That very question followed me for years, and the more I tried to answer it, the more I realized maybe I wasn't the one who was confused.
I started trying to analyze the question from a different lens. What am I? It sounds so simple until you actually try to answer
We
it.
like to believe identity has one answer, one label, but people nor history are that simple. Every person alive today is carrying generations of migration, conquest, love, war, religion, borders that moved, cultures that mixed, histories that were forgotten, and somehow we're expected to summarize all of that in a single word. But here's what confused me the most. It wasn't that I didn't know what to call myself, it was that my answer would be interpreted multiple different ways. I would tell someone, I'm Dominican, but depending on who was listening, they would hear it completely differently. To some people, I was black. To others, I wasn't black enough. To some Hispanics, I looked too African. To others, I was just another Latino. If my hair was short, people made one assumption. If I wore an afro, another. And now that I have locks, people assume something else entirely. The room mattered. The city mattered. The people around me mattered.
and somehow, I was the exact same person every time, but everyone else seemed to have a different definition of who I was. Nothing about me changed, the setting did. That's when I realized maybe identity isn't just about how you see yourself, it's also about how other people perceive you. Because if identity really were that simple, why does the reaction change depending on who's listening? Maybe I wasn't struggling to find the right label. Maybe I was trying to answer a question that never had just one answer. The more I struggled to understand who I was, the more I realized I couldn't just look at myself, I had to look backward. Because none of us are born into a blank slate. We inherit stories, traditions, beliefs, and histories that existed long before we did. When people hear Dominican, they usually think of a nationality, a flag, a language, a culture. But underneath all of that are centuries of history layered on top of each other. Before the Dominican Republic existed, before Spain, and before the border, this island was home to the Taino people. They were the first people to call this place home. Their influence didn't disappear. Then came Christopher Columbus, Spain, colonization, the Spanish language, Catholicism, and a completely different world was built on top of the old one. But that still isn't the whole story. Because the Caribbean was also shaped by Africa. Millions of Africans were brought here through slavery. They didn't just work here, they became part of the foundation of these islands. Their influence is everywhere, in our music, our rhythms, our food, our celebrations. Cultures we celebrate today simply wouldn't exist without them. Merengue, bachata, dembow. They're uniquely Dominican, but you can still hear the elements of West Coast Africa. When I look at my own family, I see that history. My grandparents don't all look the same. My cousins don't all look the same. One person has a lighter skin color, another has a darker skin color. One cousin could pass as white European, another could pass straight from the motherland. Yet all of us are Dominican. And then there's Haiti, the other half of the island, the relationship that confused me more than anything growing up. Some of the things I heard growing up never made any sense to me. Like sometimes I'd hear, oh, she's pretty for a Haitian girl, or there'd be this connotation that being Haitian was lesser, or if you were a Haitian, it just automatically equated to being African. But I couldn't understand that because the people I knew looked like me, laughed like me, shared so many of the same customs, lived on the same island, and sometimes the only thing separating our families was just the imaginary border that happened to be between us. The roots of my family comes from the southern part of the Dominican Republic, near the Haitian border. Historically, one of the regions with some of the strongest African influence on the whole island. If my grandparents would have just been born 50 miles further west, my life could have been completely different. Different nationality, different opportunities, different assumptions made about me. And yet, genetically, culturally, and historically, I might not have been that different at all. That's what history taught me. Identity isn't only one story, it's crafted from many. Some beautiful, some painful, some celebrated, some forgotten. But every one of them has become a part of me. The more I learned about my history, the less I saw the world in black and white. I started seeing contradictions everywhere. Take Christopher Columbus. Growing up Dominican, his story was impossible to ignore. He landed on the island my family calls home today, and he changed the course of world history. Without that moment, I probably don't exist. Neither does the Dominican Republic as I know it today. So when I visited a Christopher Columbus statue in 2021, I really didn't know how to feel. Like, what emotion do I anchor with? Do I have pride? Do I have gratitude? Do I have anger or sadness? And to be honest, I felt all those emotions at the same time. But I think that's okay because history teaches us that you can't only have one emotion, you just kind of take in all of them. Even the name of my country carries history. The Dominican Republic takes its name from Santo Domingo, which was named after Saint Dominic, and I'm not going to get into that. But I think it's a reminder that even the words we use every day were shaped by colonization and Catholicism. But if my indigenous and African ancestors already had their own beliefs, how did they become Catholic? The answer wasn't always peaceful. Conversion isn't always by choice. But now I'm here with religion that has given my family meaning, while at the same time coming at the cost of my predecessors. Then there's black culture. I grew up immersed in it. Basketball, hip-hop, the music I loved, and the athletes I admired. Even foods that felt natural in my house all had a profound effect on my life.
But something always bothered me. People would embrace and love black culture while distancing and separating themselves from black identity. Wear their hairstyles, listen to the music, use the slang and ebonomics, even say the word nigga. But the moment someone says you're black, suddenly you're uncomfortable. And I do not respect that. Because if you're going to celebrate the culture, you cannot reject the people that created it. You cannot separate the art from the artist.
After looking at all of this, the history, the contradictions, the different parts of myself that sometimes felt like they didn't fit together, I think I finally understand something. Identity was never about finding one perfect answer. It was about accepting the full story. But I don't think we should run away from those contradictions. I feel like we should try to understand them. Because my ancestors were both the victims
And the aggressors. Some were indigenous people whose world was destroyed.
some were Africans brought here against their own will.
Some were Europeans whose citizens benefited from others.
And that's difficult because we love the simple stories. The good, the bad, the heroes, the villains. But history rarely works that way. And maybe understanding ourselves requires the same level of honesty. Accepting the parts that we're proud of and accepting the pain that comes with it. So if there are parts of your identity that don't fit together, don't be ashamed of them.
Don't let other people define you by the easiest thing they notice. Don't let stereotypes decide who you want to be. Don't let expectations of others reject parts of yourself.
Take time to understand your story. Learn where you came from. Ask those questions. Embrace all the things that made you, even the complicated parts. Because learning about yourself isn't about finding the simple answer. It's about learning your whole story. You're not one moment, one experience, or one definition. You are a story, and your story is still being written.